Front of the Class is one of the most emotional films I have ever seen. I don't think I stopped crying throughout the entire thing. I cried when things were going right for Brad Cohen. I cried when things were difficult for him. Such an emotional film, and I absolutely adored it. It does not surprise me that this has a phenomenal 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb across 9,000 reviews and ratings. Absolutely incredible. This was released in 2008. It's directed by Peter Werner. It's written by Thomas Rickman, based on the book by Brad Cohen. It is actually based on a true story, and James Wolk plays Brad Cohen. We also have Treat Williams as his father Norman and Patricia Heaton as his mother Ellen. And it's actually because of Patricia Heaton that I became aware of this film. I hadn't heard of it, and I am so pleased that I had a reason to watch this because it's absolutely fantastic. It starts off with Brad as a little child, and we find out that he has Tourette's. Young Brad is played by Dominic Scott Kay. The performance is brilliant. The attitudes of his teacher are really difficult because the teacher is basically telling him he's making these silly noises on purpose and distracting the class on purpose, and I can't even imagine how difficult that would be. And then he grows up and we see him as an adult for the majority of the film, and it's about his efforts to try and become a teacher. This is all he wants to do, but obviously a lot of schools are turning him away because they don't want a teacher who has Tourette's. They think it's going to be really distracting for the children, and he is determined to not let anything get in his way. And I won't say too much about what happens, but it is beautiful. It is heartbreaking. It is frustrating. It is uplifting. Every single emotion I felt during this film. It is absolutely incredible. James Wolk's performance as Brad Cohen was just absolutely fantastic, and we have a lot of different attitudes from a lot of different characters, and obviously some of them are exceptionally difficult to listen to, and then to remember that this is based on a true story, and I imagine a lot of experiences of people with Tourette's as well. It's difficult to watch, but at the same time it's so compelling I couldn't look away. And yes, it is quite heavy at times, but even when Brad is faced with a difficult situation or really harmful opinions, his determination makes it so beautiful to watch. And as I said, I cried pretty much from the beginning, to be honest, because watching that little boy, young Brad, being spoken to by his teacher was horrendous. Now, it's worth pointing out that Brad Cohen, according to Wikipedia, was born in 1973, so the time when he was a child would have been late 70s, early 80s, and obviously Tourette's was not exactly well known at that point. But even still, if a child tells you they're doing something that they can't help, your job as a teacher is to work out why that is and to help the child. Because I don't think any child is going to be able to keep that up. And more importantly, he didn't laugh. I feel like children, when they're acting out, making silly noises, trying to be the class clown, they will laugh at themselves as well, based on my experience of being at school and seeing class clowns a lot. And this is not what happens with Brad, but not once did his teacher, in the film at least, turn around and say, actually, you're not behaving like a typical class clown. You're clearly not doing this for attention. I don't think you need to know about Tourette's syndrome to be able to identify that this behaviour is not that of somebody acting out for attention. So really thoroughly enjoyed the film, but found it very frustrating in a lot of ways. I think it's really eye-opening, it's really moving, and I cried all of the way through. I don't like films that make me cry, but I loved every second of this for all of the right reasons, and I honestly think everybody should watch this film. It's a masterpiece. I rarely say that about any film, but it really is. It's as perfect as it can be. Front of the Class is a phenomenal film. I'm glad my love of Patricia Heaton brought this to my attention, and if you haven't seen it, I cannot recommend it enough.